Hey, in our world, you've got to be strong. You got to be confident. You got to wherewithal if you're going to be successful. We got somebody here to talk about it. Stay tuned. Welcome, everyone, to the Your Little Castle Show. Yours truly, Cardinal Cowboy. I get to talk to a lot of fun, entertaining, cool, and informed, confident, accomplished people in our little corner of the world right here. St. Louis has a lot of great leaders that are doing things. It's interesting hearing how people come about and decide where they come with their business. I like the name you picked, Kodiak, Strong Bear. Give us a little bit of the background there, why you chose the name Kodiak Construction and Roofing.
Started off when I was a kid. A buddy and I used to always go back and forth, joking around. If you're going to be a bear, be a grizzly bear. And to me, it kind of correlated with roofing. It's going to be one of the strongest animals out there, and that's who you want protecting your roof.
That's who you want protecting your roof. Bob Gamblin, everybody. He's the owner and founder. I'll put it up there, of Kodiak Construction and Roofing, based out of St. Louis. You guys have been in business for a while now. You've got 20 years of experience doing
Correct.
this. And started when you were young, I guess.
Yeah, found out the hard way. Yeah.
Yep, worked for a few other people that were well-known businesses in St. Louis, and
Correct.
decided to take it on and do it yourself. Present company included. That's the idea here. With that, we'll give a shout-out to Carroll House Furniture, because you like nice things in your little castle. How many people have a castle? On the inside, you might decorate it with all of those things that might come from Carroll House Furniture. On the outside, though, there's a chance you have our friends here, Kodiak. They have got a great-looking website, Kodiak Construction and Roofing. I'm going to get to the right. There it is. We put those up on the walls behind us, in front of us. And you can see we were pulling information. That's a great-looking website, too. So there we go. Tell me, what led you here? Why did you decide to get into this? As a kid, and then you worked in the industry, obviously, but where did you first initially gain your interest in construction?
When I was 18, I joined the Carpenters Union. So I found out early on I liked working with my hands and seeing what I can build. And most recently, with the chain of events in St. Louis, there was a strong need for the exteriors process. So my own home, like everybody else's, got damaged, and there was a need. I was calling around trying to find somebody I could trust, somebody reliable, return phone calls that was going to be able to do the job. And I've been in construction forever and was having a hard time myself.
Wow.
So that's what led me into, I did it on my own and saw there was a need in the company or within our St. Louis region to help out.
Yeah, you see a need, you want to start, you got the history like you had. You might say, hey, I can fix the problem, or I'll start my own company.
Exactly.
And you've done well, too. We got some great work we'll show off and some great reviews, and he's got that A rating on the BBB. And Bob's been working at this now 20 years, and this is going into your fourth year coming up here?
Correct.
Yeah, with your own company, too, so having some great success there. With that whole history there, what is it about your business that you would say fuels your passion?
I would say the biggest thing is just filling a need for our local community. The roofing industry as a whole, I would say, kind of has a tarnished name, and I'm really looking at changing that. There's a right way and a wrong way to do things, and just being able to help and provide a good service to the homeowners.
Yeah, there's a reputation that some of the businesses that we know who they are, and you want to. That's why I always advocate work with these guys that are smaller businesses. That check them out, get the reviews, maybe get a nice little introduction to them through an interview where you can get to meet them. But the smaller business guys, they seem to do a better job, because now you're dealing with the founder, the owner, somebody who literally can handle the problem if there's an issue, show up on the spot and do the work.
Certainly.
Or fix it or resolve the issue. I was curious. A lot of people go to college. I don't know if that's a good or bad decision these days. College gets so expensive. You decided to go into the trades. What really led you there?
I just enjoyed the final product, of seeing what I physically built. There was trying to think of the word for it. But my biggest thing was just I enjoyed building, working with my hands, and seeing the end product.
Yeah, well, developing that end product, that a lot of people, they get to see the product then, and when you're constructing a roof, a house, these are substantial pieces of work, right? So you're really getting your hands on. When you went through the trades, do you feel that gave you a leg up because you're getting some expert training there? What particular trade school did you go to?
I was in the Carpenter's Joint Apprenticeship Program out
Okay.
of St. Louis. So I think that's the biggest differentiator with myself and some other companies. I know from the foundation up on the entire process.
Okay, yeah, literally from the foundation up. Because
Right.
at the training where you went, you got your training. They literally will work with you from all aspects, but including foundations
Correct.
to the roof, interior, exterior, and then everything in between.
Yeah, every aspect.
Do you get your hands on with electrical and then plumbing and all of those things? They give you some training there, and then you obviously might. What do you do with that?
We know enough to be dangerous. If not, we know the people who can handle it.
Yeah, so that you might contract that.
Yeah.
You become the GM.
Exactly.
And on the outside, most of your focusing, like you said, is you're doing soffit fascia, which a lot of people don't know what that is, but that's stuff underneath, right?
Correct.
And then but the roof itself and siding.
Yeah.
Is that another big
Yeah.
thing you do? What kind of siding do you prefer, and what do you recommend for people?
I'd say the most popular in St. Louis is going to be the vinyl siding, but we also we're a contractor for hardy siding as well, so it's just a preference.
Okay, yeah. Talk a little bit about James Hardy siding, because I'm familiar with it. One of our first guests, he loved our show. He came back to do another show with us. But tell us a little bit about why James Hardy. Well, some people recommend that.
I would say the biggest reason, especially with our most recent storm environment, is it's obviously more expensive, but the first hailstorm, it isn't going to tear it apart. It's going to last. You know, if there's a grill fire, if you're barbecuing a little too close to the house, it's not going to melt. So it costs a little bit more money, but it saves you money in the long run.
I think Bob might have seen my house, because I have a grill. I got a little too close, so now the vinyl over there is a little waffle.
Yeah.
Right. And it didn't burn through it, didn't melt it off, but you can see it's got a little wave. It's redecorated. Yes, but that's what you get with vinyl, and vinyl's very popular and good.
Sure.
And if you just don't want to spend, James Hardy's a little more expensive, but it's like a thick plaster, isn't it? Is it
Yeah. Yeah, and it's durable. It's built to last, and you know the odds are if you put that on, it'll be the last siding you ever have to.
Yeah, and I guess you can even get a discount from your insurance company sometimes for.
Yeah, they will give you a discount.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll do the same with shingles as well. If you go with the class 4 that has a higher impact rating,
Okay.
they'll give you a kickback on there to help save you some money on their end.
Great transition. Tell me about the roofing side. Why do you enjoy that part? What do you do there to separate yourself? What recommendations do you have for people? Because St. Louis, if you don't like your roof, just wait a couple months. There'll be a storm come through.
Absolutely.
Get it replaced, right?
Yeah. So the biggest thing as far as what differentiates us from other people in the roofing is what you're asking?
Yeah.
I would say the biggest thing is when you call, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be speaking with me or somebody who has access to me, so you're dealing with us. I'm born and raised in St. Louis. We're not an out-of-town company, so if there ever is an issue, something happens, we're going to be here for the long haul to help you out.
Yeah, we've all heard about that notorious tail light warranty, right? And your warranty's as good as you can see their tail lights. You're born and bred. We know you went to school here in St. Louis, and you're not going anywhere.
Correct.
Somebody has a question or problem, they're going to call you. 9 out of 10 times they're talking to the boss when they call that.
Exactly, so I can make the decision right there.
Yeah, help people to. Why do you think that's important? Because so often, and when you're talking about a roof, you're talking about a $15,000-$20,000 investment. You want to be able to talk to the owner and deal with the issue, right?
Well, and it's protecting the rest of your house, right? So if there's an issue with the roof, it needs to be rectified right away.
And what do you mean by protects the whole house? A lot of people understand it, but give us a little bit of the system that's involved there.
Well, so first off, no roof is waterproof. It's a water shedding program to divert water away from the house. But with all the different components there, you know, that's obviously what keeps your home dry. So if you have a leaking roof, it escalates quickly.
Yeah, you don't want to have I like that, a water shedding system, but it literally is guiding stuff. And part of that system is the gutters. And,
everything.
And the rest of that. But all of those pieces work together to get that, because if you've got, what do they, ice and water shield?
Correct.
These are the things that help. Why are those things necessary?
Ice and water is super important because in St. Louis with our crazy weather, it's going to be hot one day, freezing the next. And anytime we have ice dam or anything, just to protect your roof from any further damage. So that water can creep underneath there, but with that it seals around the gutter line and whatnot.
So if water goes up underneath it and then freezes, it causes problems. And
Correct.
Expands and you don't want. I've seen it. My mom has an old house down in Fayette, Missouri. We heard from my dad, and it's got a brick part of the house where water got behind it, and the brick sticks out because of the water. That's the kind of stuff you got to watch out for. You don't want that getting up underneath
Exactly.
your shingles. Tell me a little bit about the grade of shingles and what you recommend. I mean, you talked about those longer. Explain why there's higher quality.
I would say probably 90% of the jobs, especially recently, are a class 3 shingle, which is relatively normal. It's an architectural shingle. we've been selling a lot more of the Class 4 just because of the recent storms. People are, getting sick and tired of having to pay deductibles and redo the roofs and just the inconvenience of the whole process. It's loud, noisy, messy. It's part of the process. So with a Class 4, it has a lot larger impact rating. There's insurance gives you a discount. It's just a more durable, stronger shingle. Obviously, it's more expensive, but the hopes are it should be one of the last roofs you have to put on.
Yeah, so the idea there is it's got a longer, better warranty too, right?
Correct.
So if somebody does have an issue, now they're just dealing with the other things that might have broken down more simply because this is a higher, more durable. Why does it last longer? Is it built out of better materials, and is it got?
Yeah, it's just a more dense, beefier shingle. If you hold up the two samples next to each other, it's an obvious weight difference.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a lot heavy duty, a lot more heavy duty.
And back to the insurance company might help you a little bit to say, hey, if you'll put the better stuff on, they help cover cost, or is it they give you a discount on your insurance month to month, or?
And that right there should tell everybody, it's almost worth doing it because the insurance company doesn't like to give money away. We all know that. So if they're doing it, it's for a reason. It's protecting themselves.
Yeah, well, we're talking about a roof. This is something that's very substantial. Does protect the whole house.
Right.
And if you've got something, what's the average lifespan of that shingle versus the lesser 3 rated?
In St. Louis, I almost say there's no such thing as a 30-year roof anymore. We have between the tornadoes, hail, everything else. It's just we have the worst of the worst, right? It gets really hot, it gets really cold, it gets really windy. So I would say the 15 to 20-year range would be average on a roof. There's some that could last up to 30, 40 years. It just depends on the shingle.
Yeah, so those shingles will make a difference if you got the higher quality, tougher. Essentially, it's a thicker, more durable, and it'll last longer.
Absolutely, yeah.
A 30-year shingle versus what's the average otherwise? Would you expect at the most somebody can expect?
I would say the 20 to 25-year range is pretty common.
But in St. Louis, you're kind of lucky if you get that long because...
That's if you don't have any hail, tornadoes, or anything, ice, or everything that comes along with our weather. But in a perfect scenario, you should expect that.
Yeah, in St. Louis, the odds of not having a hailstorm. You got these. What are some of the tracking softwares that people use so they can tell where a storm has actually hit?
We use hail trace quite a bit. That way, it narrows down the exact zip code down to the street where you are, and we can see where the hail is. And it tells us the diameter that's there and everything going on. Right now, it's just been a big red spot over St. Louis in general. So.
Okay. Yeah, I know that the roofing industry is becoming, and that's another thing to watch out for. A lot of these businesses pop up, and they're here, and they just started.
Correct.
And they don't have the experience you have, but they were doing well selling cars or whatever, and said, hey, let's switch over to the roofing industry. Somebody like yourself, you want to get the background of somebody a little bit.
Sure.
Make sure that they will be there when they're, because if there's a problem, and who's your preferred vendor? Do you have a preferred vendor for who you?
For our supplies?
For your roofing materials?
Yeah, for all of ours, we go through ABC Supply. They've always treated us good. They stand behind their product, and that's who we want whenever we're putting on a roof.
Okay, and it's a matter of do you have Owens Corning or who do you?
Yeah, so we mainly will do, as far as our installs, GAF.
GAF says yes, one of the biggest, if not the biggest, aren't they?
Yeah, they're biggest. We use them. Otherwise, it's certainty depending on availability.
Okay, yeah. So all of them are good quality, but they do well. And then, what I was going at with those, they each have their guarantees too that provide that if they're installed correctly and got the licensing done and everything, then if there is an issue, you can come in and fix it, and they're going to back it.
Exactly.
How important do you think that is for somebody?
It's huge. I mean, and that's the biggest thing is making sure that they are installing per the manufacturer specs. A lot of people don't realize that. They see nobody gets up on a roof and crawls around. So you want to have somebody that could pay attention and make sure it's being done properly. Because it doesn't necessarily matter up front. It's 10 years down the road whenever an issue may arise or whatever happens. That's when it comes into play.
Well said there. How many people do you go up there and say, hey, yeah, I'm going to go just check out the roof? You're having somebody else generally look at that.
Right.
You start off with a drone, but you want to get feet up, boots on the roof, is that what
right,
exactly. To actually take a look and dig in there, because then you'll see the real damage, and it may or may not be existing. Right. And that's why you get insurance, and then we'll talk a little bit about the insurance process maybe a little bit here too. Well, thanks for giving us that background. I mean, it's important stuff. I'm going to jump into the reviews quickly over here. You've got all 5-star reviews over here on the TV wall #1. You've earned some good response there from people in the time you've been in business here. How's that make you feel to have people over here saying good things about you? And then you've got that A rating on the BBB. These are things that are good for your business. Is that something you really enjoy about what you're doing with your work?
Absolutely. I mean, it shows that we're doing the right thing. We we rely on our customers that, we do a lot of referral work.
Well, I see it all up there, and we'll put that BBB up for everybody to check it out. But it literally can be the difference in the success or failure of a job is the materials that you use, but then you want to have that backing when somebody's got good reviews that talk about you well, too.
Right.
All right, everybody, we're going to stay tuned here for a little fun we had out in the community. We get to see a lot of interesting stuff, but Babe Ruth's grandson was in town, and we got to talk to him. Check out this little clip.
Hello, everybody. Carter Ruthwish, Tom Stevens, Babe Ruth's grandson, came here to the Browns 41st dinner for the St. Louis Browns Association. Tell me then, if you don't mind, Tom, I'm going to put my clip on you here. What does it mean? What does Babe's legacy for baseball mean to you?
Wow, it's everything to me, really. As I mentioned in my remarks, there's never been a time that Babe was not a part of my life in some form. And now that I'm retired, I benefited so much throughout my life through my relationship with him, the experiences that we've had, that now I kind of want to pay it back and just try and spread the gospel of Babe Ruth wherever I go.
Well, we have it right here. If you want to find out more information, Babe Ruth Central, that's the website that's dedicated to Babe and shares his legacy.
It is.
Awesome. John Goodman portrayed Babe in a great movie that we saw that literally, I like what they talked about in Babe's history, helping kids and his great support for a lot of kids.
Yes.
Is that a big part of his memory for you?
Oh, yes, very much so. Yeah, the humanity, and that's one of the things that I really like to emphasize is the humanitarian side of Babe's activities and what he did. Because it's, you can't really go to a website or read about this stuff,
All right. Thank you very much for your time. Thanks for coming to this event. Ed was on our show recently. How you doing, Ed? There he is. We're going to have Ed back on again soon, everybody. Thanks. It's your old Castle Show.
His name is Carter Ruthwish, but in St. Louis, he's known as the Cardinal Cowboy. He's a well-known fixture in the stands at sporting events in the Gateway City. He's one of its greatest cheerleaders, a super fan like no other. When he makes his rounds at almost every home game, he shares his love for sports with the rest of fandom with a smile, a cheer, some positive encouragement, and lots of selfies and pics. But the Cardinal Cowboy was born of a tragic incident. Ruthwish was an aspiring athlete in high school and college. He dreamed of playing in the big leagues, but those dreams ended when he and 3 of his college friends were hit with a devastating crash by a 5-time drunk driver. One of his best friends died. Carter suffered a critical head injury. The trauma put him in a coma for 6 days. The doctors said he was never expected to function again. Those expectations never came true. He fought back and finished college. He was determined to prove the doctors wrong. Among other inspirations, it was his love of baseball that kept him going. And from his near-death experience, the Cardinal Cowboy emerged. His goal in life became to inspire others with positivity despite the odds, to help people believe in themselves and achieve their dreams.
So after my coma, I realized that it was up to me if I was going to accomplish my goals, if I was going to reach my dreams. Despite what the naysayers would say, the people that were discouraging me, like they do everyone, it's up to me if I'm going to make it. Don't listen to the naysayers. It's up to you. You decide whether you're going to succeed, whether you're going to reach your goals. Dream, and then always, always chase your dreams. Never give up. Giddy up. So yeah, a lot of the fun we get to partake in here in St. Louis, and it's a great little community. We talked a little bit before the show about everybody kind of knows everybody, and everybody's connected somehow in St. Louis. And well, that particular connection led me to get to hang out with Babe Ruth's grandson, which was kind of neat. But baseball and sports, of all your sports that you play, what would you say is your favorite?
Definitely football.
Football.
Yeah, by
there we
far.
go. I'm with you on that. All right. Well, we did there. I didn't put up the BBB. There he is, Kodiak Construction Roofing right there. You can see there's their, and they got that A rating on the BBB, and doing good work there in the community. Tell us, give me a little cost analysis. I'm a numbers guy, as a guy who's been involved with technology and computers, but we used to track every bit, every byte. all the fail rates, everything that happened with numbers, and then I translated it into what I do to help businesses: marketing, ROI, conversion, click-through rate, all those fun things. But give me a little cost analysis for somebody says, I got to get a roof. The storm came through, the insurance company. Well, we'll talk about that. First, let's talk about the insurance company. When there's a storm that comes through, what's the first step? Should they call you before they call the insurance company, or what do you recommend?
Yeah, definitely. I would get the contract out there first, because sometimes, I mean, not everybody has damage. We've seen it where the house next door has damage for whatever reason, their neighbor doesn't. So I would call them to see if there's even a reason to file a claim before you get a ding on there.
Yeah, if you're calling in, they're gonna mark that and say, hey, these people are, and then you get a consistent history of calling in claims that weren't.
Exactly.
Goes
Yeah.
against you. Your insurance rates go up just for that.
Right.
Is it also true that many times your insurance rates are going to go up anyway if the storm hit that whole territory? At least check it out, because if you're not going to get it checked out and everybody else is getting new roofs, your rates are going to go up just anyway because they raise them for that region.
Yeah, they go over the entire region. So, and I think that's one misconception. People don't realize that they think they're going to hurt themselves, but it's going up regardless, because 10,000 people in the St. Louis area got hit by hail.
Yeah, that it didn't just affect the rate for one roof.
It's our
the insurance
entire
company's
area.
going to make up for that, so they increase their. Well, give me that cost analysis. When you first go to somebody's house and you're looking at the roof, and they're saying, well, why should I get this fixed? What are they put at stake by not doing it, and what should they make sure that they do cover during that process?
As far as the roofing themselves, or like what it would cost for the roof?
Yeah, well, you're there to help them. You're going to say, here's the things that need to be done. Here's the things that obviously are damaged. Some people got the brother-in-law; he can do it for them, but why should they take an expert to do it?
Biggest thing is, so it's done the right way, and you're going to get that manufacturer warranty through the shingle manufacturer themselves. So if it's not done up to their specs, and there's a ton of them if you read on the back of the fine print, they could deny it if there's ever a future problem or something that goes wrong with it. So, when you're looking at a roof themselves, it's just like anything else. They could be as expensive as the individual makes it. But they start anywhere from $450 a square up to, some of them could be $1,000, depending on how crazy you want to go with it. It just depends on several factors. How, obviously the type of shingle, elevations, 2-3 stories up in the air, however you want to go with it.
Yeah, and if you're not getting these things done correctly, then you're going to impugn the integrity. And then, the big thing is if you just slap it on and you don't have all the specs, how many? You see, there's a list of things that qualify that have to be done. They include like ice and water shield, or proper installation, right temperature during the installation. What are the things that people need to know? Those things that you've got to make sure are done.
I would say the biggest one, especially this time of year, people are trying to squeeze in some roofs during the weather, but you really don't want to be installing them below 35 degrees. It's just they need proper time to seal. Right now it's questionable, right? Every once in a while it's popping up above there, but you're playing a dangerous game.
Yeah, that seal is very important about the installation of the roof, and if you're not getting that done, then you're not going to have it'll be failing with you
Exactly.
right away.
Right, you'll be calling back pretty quick.
All right. Tell me, why should somebody choose you? What really sets you guys apart? We touched about that a little bit in the first half, but what's a differentiator for you that you think you bring to the table?
Yeah, the biggest differentiator with us is we truly do try to treat everybody like their family. I believe in the golden rule. I want to treat people how they would treat me. Or I'm saying that.
You want want people to treat you the way you would treat them.
Yeah.
The golden rule. We're familiar with that. And why wouldn't you do that? Why would a business not operate under that fashion? They get too concerned with the money, and
I would lean to. I would think so. I don't know what their personal reasons are, but I just know I want somebody. If it was my grandma's house, there's a certain way I'd want her to be handled, or treated. So.
Very true. Yes, when you've got your grandma's house, you should take care. A lot of people, we've heard those horror stories about people going in and doing work and taking advantage because she didn't know that there wasn't the damage that you said there was.
Right.
She didn't go up on the roof to go check that out. That would be almost impossible. But you got to trust the integrity of the company, and that's why you get the ratings you do, the reviews you do, and the history you've got in doing this for so long. Do you have any specific certifications that go on? You talked about that. Is there a certification for doing installations? Is there anything that GAF offers that you?
Yeah, we are certified by GAF. So there's a certain level of training you have to go through with them to get the accreditation and go through. We have that. Obviously, with the Better Business Bureau, we're part of them.
Yeah, all those things that make a difference because you want to know that who you're dealing with has a history, does it the problem. But getting certified by GAF, do you think that's an important piece? Obviously, that puts some people mind at ease.
Oh, 100%, because we know what it takes to honor their warranty program and be able to extend that extended warranty. if you're not doing it exactly how they want, it's worth the weight of the paper it's written on,
Yeah, cutting corners, everybody, not a good thing, especially when you're talking about a roof, because now you're dealing with something that if a roof fails, it can affect the whole house. We all
Exactly.
hear people talk about these horror stories where water ran down into the basement, caused mold and all kinds of issues because just that roof, like you said, it is the shield and the protector of the entire house.
Sure.
And something you definitely want to make sure is done. And as a small business owner yourself, you get to pay closer attention. Is that fair to say? Because when you're dealing with this, it's like you said, 9 out of 10 times they're talking to you directly, and that way you better can take care of a consumer when they're getting a roof done.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I lay eyes on every job right now in the St. Louis area, and we have a great quality control process to make sure it's done properly. We have guys on site throughout the entire day making sure it is done. So we're very thorough.
Key right there, everybody. Making sure you're laying eyes on every project. That's important to know, that the owner, because who else is at stake there? The owner's reputation is on the line, and you're, like say in St. Louis, as a small business owner, you're only as good as your last job. Is that
Exactly,
kind
100%.
and then somebody puts a bad review up about you, which you have 0 of, then you got to combat that and deal with that. And people ask questions about it. But so far, something you haven't even dealt with because you've got great reviews so far.
Yeah, so we're going to try to keep that going.
Keep it going. Tell me, as we finish up here, what is the biggest mistake that people make? There's lots that could go wrong with the roof or the installation or the construction, and with the hail and the different storms we have in St. Louis. What's the biggest mistake the average homeowner makes here in St. Louis?
I think the biggest mistake is we're all looking to save money. I mean, that's how it is. But when somebody's offering to save your deductible, that is actually insurance fraud.
Yeah.
And just something you really got to think about is they're able to do that. They're cutting costs somewhere. That money's coming from, cheaper components, not using certain components. It's coming from somewhere, not as long as a warranty. So I think a lot of people put some weight on that when it's something that you need to really think about. If they're able to waive that, it has to come from somewhere.
Yeah, and these days those deductible can be a nice little chunk. I mean, anywhere from $1,000 to the percentage now, some of them are doing.
Yeah, we've seen up to $15,000.
And so when you've got to absorb that cost, and they're trying to absorb that cost, they've got to be cutting somewhere. It's labor, materials, quality, ice and water shield, some of the things that they need to implement, but they're not. How would you know what they're cutting, I guess, right?
Well, that's the problem. The average homeowner has no idea, so there's no way you wouldn't know. I mean, if it looks okay to you, what's going to matter is 6 months from now, in the middle of winter time when you need your roof, but there's no way for you to look at it and really know.
Yeah, worst case, you've got that little spot that comes through on the top and you see the ceiling. You're like, why is there a water spot up there?
Right. Right.
And by then it's too late.
Right.
You've got big problems by then that are caused and something's going on.
Correct.
All right, we have Bob to stick around for another half hour here. This is the first half hour here covered with Kodiak Construction and Roofing. We're going to be back for more here, everybody. Stay tuned. We're going to help you understand who it is you should trust and learn from and use for their high quality work that they do here in the St. Louis area. Stay tuned for more.